He Got Game is a 1998 American sports drama masterpiece written, produced, and directed by Spike Lee. The film stars Denzel Washington as Jake Shuttlesworth and the NBA legend Ray Allen as Jack's son, Jesus Shuttlesworth. This powerful movie explores themes of family, loyalty, and the price of fame, and it became a must-watch classic for every basketball fan. Here's our recap. The movie begins with a convict and ex-basketball player named Jack Shuttlesworth playing football, who has been kept in prison for 6 years because he accidentally killed his wife, Martha, during a domestic fight. Suddenly, an officer arrives and tells Jack that the warden wants to talk to him. The warden informs Jack that the governor is a basketball lover and wants Jack's son, Jesus Shuttlesworth, a top-ranking school basketball player, to be in the Big State University's basketball team, but he is not willing to participate. He tells Jack they will grant him 7 days to get out of prison and convince his son to be a part of the team. If he succeeds in doing so, the government will release him early. Eventually, Jack leaves with 2 agents named Spivey and Crudup, and they give him an intent letter that he has to get signed by Jesus. The guards also give him some money to buy some necessary stuff and warn Jack that he isn't a free man, so if he tries to flee, they will track him down by a tracking device attached to his body. They leave Jack in his newly assigned apartment. On the other hand, Jesus, who studies in college, meets with his girlfriend Lala, who asks him to meet an agent named Dondre Mackey as he is her family friend. Jesus tells her that he isn't allowed to talk to agents, but she begs him so much that he agrees. Jesus' coach tells him that he wants Jesus to decide what he wants to do with his talent. Jesus' indecisiveness is still evident as he is not interested in committing to any big programs yet. Later, Jack meets with his daughter Mary. They hug, and she tells him that they have moved out of their Uncle Bubba and Aunt Sally's house, and that Jesus is paying the rent for their new place. Mary is afraid that she will get in trouble with Jesus, but after Jack insists, she invites him to their apartment, where Jack tells her that he is not free, but is out for only 7 days to complete a job. Although Mary asks Jack to reveal what job he has to complete, he refuses to reveal it. Mary tells her father that she knows her mom's death wasn't Jack's fault, but after many years, Jesus still blames him for the tragedy. She believed that Jesus' basketball skills are top level and that he can finally beat Jack one-on-one. Suddenly, Jesus arrives there, and he gets angry seeing his father. He denies even recognizing him and tells Mary that he has prohibited her from bringing strangers into the home. Jack tries to intervene and talk to Jesus, but he gets angrier and tells his father to leave. Upon request, Jesus tells Jack that he is usually at the garden so they can meet there, and after that, Jack leaves. As he leaves, both Jesus and Mary go to their uncle and aunt and inform them that their father just visited them. Their uncle and aunt blame Jack for coming to their house only for money, while Jesus can't understand how his father got free so early. Bubba advises Jesus to go meet his father, but Sally disagrees. He further asks Jesus what he has decided to do with the offer he got from Big State University. Jesus tells him that though he hasn't decided anything about it, the offer includes an athletic scholarship, which enrages Bubba as he expected some money or at least a house or a car for himself as well. He starts bragging about how he took Jack's children into his home and he should be compensated for that as Sally leaves in anger. Bubba tells Jesus he doesn't believe he's not getting paid already, considering he got money for rent, clothes, and furniture. In response, Jesus tells Bubba that once he gets a deal and starts getting paid, he will take care of his uncle and aunt. Jack buys new Jordans and starts playing basketball. Suddenly, Jesus also arrives there with Booger, his cousin. Booger is reluctant to talk to Jack, and he leaves instantly. Jack invites Jesus for a one-on-one game, but Jesus refuses to play. Jack tries to start a conversation about Martha, but Jesus tries to leave because he doesn't want to talk about his mother. Jack stops Jesus and asks him about his basketball plans. Jesus gets tired from hearing this question and tells Jack he doesn't know yet. He further makes it clear that he will carry the responsibility for himself and Mary, and Jack does not need to intervene. Jack explains Jesus why he pushed him so hard. He has seen his talent and doesn't want his son to compromise his skills. But Jesus changes the subject of the convo, saying that he never liked his name his father chose him. All the kids used to make fun of him, calling him a religious freak. But Jack tells him that people make mistakes and he needs to stop worrying about others. He even tells him that it was his mistake that Martha died and God must have forgiven him, but Jesus doesn't listen and leaves. At night, Jesus meets Mary, and she tells him that all the girls in her school tell her that her brother is rich and famous. Because of his basketball skills, he will be recognized globally, and Mary will eventually need not to attend her boring school. In his anger, Jesus grabs Mary's arm tightly, telling her not to believe that they are rich. Mary asks why their father is there and tells Jesus she misses him so much. Jesus tells her that he will leave soon. He apologizes for putting hands on her and wishes her good night before leaving. Jesus watches the news and sees every news channel talking about him and his basketball skills, but he believes he needs to complete his education first, as no man can succeed without education. This is what his mother always wanted, so he wants to complete his studies first. Later, Jack hears a man beating up a woman next to his apartment door. It turns out that the woman is a prostitute named Dakota, and her boyfriend is a pimp named Sweetness. When Sweetness leaves, Jack rushes to her aid and treats her wounds. Dakota tells him that she has been facing violence since her childhood, and now she believes she deserves to be treated that way as her own lover tells her so. Jack tells her that he likes her and wants to know more about her. Dakota initially dismisses him, thinking he is just doing this to take advantage of her. However, she allows him to open up, and Jack reveals that he accidentally killed his wife, which enrages Dakota. Meanwhile, Lala is seen with another boy flirting and then calls Jesus, requesting him again to talk to the agent she told him about earlier, to which Jesus agrees. The next day, Spivey and Crudup meet with Jack, asking him about his progress in the mission. He asks them to let him do his job in peace and only take him back to prison when his time is up. The agent leaves upon hearing this. When Jack tries to talk to Jesus again, he leaves for his school, ignoring him. On the way, the driver tells Jesus that he needs to listen to his dad, but Jesus tells him to mind his own business. The driver continues to warn him about the risks of agents offering him benefits that could jeopardize his basketball career. These benefits may include drugs, alcohol, and girls that can impact his play on the basketball court. Jesus' coach offers him $10,000 to make a decision about joining a college program before Monday, but he declines, saying that he needs more time to weigh his options. Later, Jesus meets the agent Lala was talking about. The agent offers Jesus to skip college and go straight to the NBA. By the agent, several contending NBA teams are interested in signing him. He suggests Jesus to take him to be his agent, and he promises to make him successful. The agent tries to entice Jesus with luxurious cars, expensive gifts, and even a house, but Jesus tells him that he is not ready to make a decision yet. A flashback reveals how Jack used to give Jesus rigorous training. One day, Jesus became frustrated and quit the game. Things escalated at home when Jack got angry at Jesus, and they both started fighting. Martha tried to intervene, but Jack hit her and pushed her on the kitchen counter. Unexpectedly, she died from the hit, and that's when Jack got imprisoned for an attempt to murder. In the present, Jesus surprisingly meets Jack, and Jack thinks he will now sign up for the big state university. However, when Jack tells him that he is here on a mission to convince him for the big state university, and in return, he will be released from jail early, Jesus gets angry and tells his father that he is just like all others who only want money. Jack tries to make it clear that he only wants his success and even hugs him, but Jesus is not convinced. Jesus visits Tech University, and Chick, his host, takes him on a tour. Jesus gets excited when he sees his name on the big screen of the basketball arena and hears it being announced. The university basketball team coach arrives and tells Jesus that he has been praying to God for a player like him. Chick then takes Jesus to meet girls and even locks him in a room with prostitutes where Jesus enjoys his time. In the meantime, Jack tries his best to find Jesus, and he even talks to Booger about it. Retrieving no information, he goes to Spivey and Crudup and asks for some money. When he gets the money, he gives it to Dakota, and they both enjoy an intimate moment. When Jesus returns from the university, he is surprised to find his uncle driving in a new Lexus. Upon questioning, his uncle reveals that the car is for Jesus, but it's not in his name, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Jesus understands that agencies are trying to trick him, and then he asks his uncle to give it back to the people who gave the car to him. Later, Lala and Jesus have an argument over the fact that Lala was only trying to make Jesus meet the agents because they were paying her. When she asks him if he met any women during his recent visit to Tech University, he lies, saying that he met many women but didn't do anything wrong. As they end their conversation, Jesus taunts her for being like everyone else, as she is only interested in money and doesn't care what he wants to do with his life. Jack's deadline is approaching, so he makes one last attempt to convince Jesus to sign the intent letter to Big State University. He challenges Jesus to a one-on-one basketball game with the first to 11 points winning. If Jack wins, Jesus must sign the intent letter. But if Jesus wins, he gets to choose his destination and Jack will return to prison. The one-on-one begins with Jack making bucket after bucket, but then Jesus gets himself together and pulls the same moves his father taught him as he was growing up. While playing, Jesus shoves his father, who falls, but then fights on the court. Unfortunately to Jack, Jesus wins the contest by the score of 11-5, and then he throws away the intent letter. Spivey and Crudup arrive to take Jack back. Before he leaves, he warns Jesus to let go of his hatred towards his father, or he too will end up unsuccessful like him. With Jack gets locked up in prison again, Jesus eventually decides to join Big State University. The warden tells Jack about the good news regarding his son joining Big State, but also tells him that since Jack wasn't able to make Jesus sign the intent letter in the given period of time, his sentence won't be reduced. Jack writes a final letter to Jesus telling him that he spent his life making him the best basketball player, and even now he is happy for him. He is hurt, but he loves him. Jesus reads his father's letter for the first time in his life, realizing he misses his father in his life. Jake ultimately finds freedom by casting away his dreams and burdens to his son, symbolized by his throwing of an old basketball over the prison wall, where it magically lands on the Big State court, where Jesus is practicing alone. Jesus clutches the ball, knowing it is a message of hope from his father. Tell us in the comments, what is your favorite part of the movie? And if you enjoy this video, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. For even more basketball content, subscribe to our other channels, Free Dawkins and Vintage Dawkins, and follow us on social media.